All right. I'm just gonna go with Nestero for this. It's what I kind of had lying around, and it's really good for this kind of stuff anyway. Um, but all these things they span across about anything you can do in game. Whether you're mining, you're looking for a rare type of ore through cosmic anomalies or gas sites, wormholes, any kind of exploration. This is how people find you when you're in stations as well, or not in stations, in systems. If you're on a mining belt, something like that, and you're wondering how people got to you so fast. Um, I have a probe launcher on here. I don't have combat probes, but I will show you how you would use those because you need an expanded expanded probe launcher to use combat probes, and those are quite hefty on your CPU, and not any ship can use it. So what we do here, go ahead and open both these up. Actually, I don't need this one right now. I'll get it back in a little bit. All right, I'm undocked from station. I have Busu sitting out in space somewhere. And over here, you see this green ball. This is my 14 AU. This is the max range you can use for your uh, D-scan. Your angle is 360 degrees. It's going to do a ball all the way around you, obviously. But you see, I hit the scan. I have a golem popping up. That's somebody doing mission runs. But you typically, when somebody jumps into a system, I'll do this. Oops, don't do that. I tried to lock a gate. I'll warp out this real quick and I'll show you typically how this usually transpires whenever a fleet's coming through. It's pretty simple. The big thing with fleets is they'll have hunters with them. Hunters are fast frigates. What they'll do is the entire fleet will usually sit on this side of the gate. So I'm in Asto right now. I'm going into Hululin, UUH. The roam will typically they'll warp to this gate. The hunter will go ahead and jump through. Everybody else will wait. Oops, don't do that. So get in range. Alright, the fleet's waiting. Hunter's going through. As soon as you get through, it automatically descans. All I see is a praxis. There's 24 in local, including me. But I am way off. See, everything's spread out pretty nice. Everything's way out of my descan. But without popping cloak, I can see what's sitting here on gate. I can see what's on my descan. I can see what's in local. I already have a lot of information I can work off of. There's there's a golem here. Or no, there's praxis, sorry. Um, that could be a number of things. They could be mission running. They could be doing whatever. Praxis can be anything. So what we'll do is we'll go warp to the sun. This ship cloaks, so I will cloak. Meanwhile, the rest of the fleet, they're still sitting outside the gate. You don't want to, if there's a fleet 10 plus people, everybody coming through at the same time will spike local, and that will freak everybody out. Anybody who could have been a possible target is now warping away. So we land on the sun. I'm gonna hit scan again. I got an Ibis, a shuttle, and a Mackinaw. Mackinaw's a possible target. So we'll reduce our range. 10 AU. He's still in range. 5 AU, lost him. Something you can do is you can hover over your AU and you can hold shift. No, control, and you can take it up by 1. See up here, you can only do it by 5, 10, 14, 1, 0. But if you hold control and scroll your mouse wheel up, you can change it by 1. So we lost them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we lost them at 5. So 6-0. 7-0. Oh wait, sorry, I changed my degrees there. There he is. So I got him again. All right, lost him. So he's about 7 AU away. So do that. What do I have in this range? Do a quick look. There's asteroid belt. There's a couple combat sites. These are just locations saved. Planets. But it's Mackinac, so he's going to be at one of these asteroid belts. So they seem to be in a line right here. So what we'll do is we'll reduce our angle. So you make it a cone shape, right? What you can do is you hold V and you can click on something and it will make your screen automatically look in that direction, and that's what will aim this cone as well. Did that happen?
Sorry, what'd you click?
I held V when I clicked on something, and it'll cause. Hold on. See how I turn the screen? My cone changes.
Okay.
See, if you hold V and you click on something, it'll automatically look at it for you. So I'm going to pick this asteroid belt because it seems to be right in line with the rest of these. My cone turns immediately to it. I'm looking right at it, even though I'm looking right at the sun.
Okay.
A little difficult. I got control as my push to talk, so I have to kind of jumble around stuff. All right, we'll scan again. Still have them. So I know he's going to be right close to at my range. So these two asteroid belts, they're way close. I would have picked them up sooner if not. This one's right at the end of my scan, so likely my target's going to be here. Now, if you did have combat probes, the only reason you would use combat probes is if they're at a safe spot in space or an anomaly that you can't, like one of these right here, like you can't warp to it without scanning it down. Combat probes are a way easier way. Say like, say that I picked him up there. You see, I have nothing in that cone that I can warp to. That I can find him. But I know he's in this. I would reduce it down a little bit, try to get a little bit of a pinpoint on him. And if I'm still picking them up right here, I could set my probes right in the middle of this and scan, and I will pick them up. Being that small, I should be able to warp to them after one scan. This is how
Okay.
combat probes work. Hmm?
So combat probes are for descanning.
No. What I'm doing right now is descanning. I'm looking for my
Okay.
target using the descanner. If if there's nothing that I can warp to that the target's sitting at, that's where combat probes would come in play. Say like if he was at this spot right here, I could use regular probes and scan it down, and I'd be able to warp to it. But there's no guarantee that they're there. Um, if they're at a safe spot like this, like I'm saying, like if he was right smack in the middle of this, see, there's nothing there. There's nothing even near close to where I can warp to. I could use combat probes to scan his ship directly and be able to warp straight to him. But that's a whole other thing. We were back here though. See, I scanned again. When you hit V, it also scans. So my Mackinall's right there. He's right smack in the middle. He's right at the end. So we're going to take my chance. I'm going to warp there. Now, normally this would be a lot faster, naturally. Because they're going to warp in. They're going to find it. They're going to see what they have as far as a target goes, possible places they could be, and they're going to find it. See that right there? Bam, warped right to them. That's basically how a D-scan works.
Okay.
Well, to be able to pinpoint things in space. See, that could work from anywhere else. Even if I was to go, let's see, what is, all right, this place.
And now that Mac's shitting his pants.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I would, from here, I'd lock them if they weren't already aligned and trying to warp out. I would lock them, call to the fleet, hey, I got something. They'd all jump through, warp to me, and then you're dead.
Cool.
Um, Actually, I do have my probes. I'll show you here in a minute. All right, see, I warped to the station here. We're going to take angle all the way back out. We're going to bring my range all the way back out. So I got my Mackinac. I'm at 14. We'll bump it down one, and I lost him. So he's in there somewhere. 11. I got a Gila. 12. 13. 14. Got him. So he's right at the edge of my bubble. You see, I got a lot of things inside that range that he could be at. So what you want to try to do is when you narrow your cone, you want to try to get as much of that in there. Well, not necessarily as much of that in there. That's the Mackinac, so he's going to be probably at an asteroid belt. Got one there. We'll target that. See, hold V, click on it, and it'll automatically looks directly at it. It already did it, so I still have him. We'll reduce our angle. Lost him.
Hmm.
So he's not in anything in this range. But I still have an asteroid belt over here. Hold V, look at it, and bam, there he is right there. Right at the end of my range. Go ahead and warp to there. As you practice this too, it'll be a little more easier, a little faster for you to go about doing it.
Yeah.
As like with all things in this game, it just takes a little bit of practice. And yeah, remember this is how people are finding you. See that right there? Bam, found them.
Hmm.
All right. Now, if I do have probes, so I can show you what I was talking about before. Go ahead and launch these. Let's bring out my probe scanner too. I'm not actually going to find the ship because I don't have combat probes on, but I can show you how this works though. All right, so I'm going to have my D-scan set up to. Oh, I got ships warping in. Hold on. Let's go ahead and warp my ships out of there. All right, remember before when I said if something was out of range for me to warp to, they were at something that I can't warp to. Straight up from the star where there's nothing. But I am picking them up. I have my D-scan set, my filter to ships only. So I would be able to pick them up on D-scan, but I wouldn't have a warp in on them, right? Let's say I pinpointed them up here. I have my probes out. I bring my probes to the center of that. If you hold Alt and mouse wheel, you can expand the range of your probes. Just like that. And then hit B as in boy, and it'll scan for you. You're gonna warp to there. They're gonna do their scan. Probably one scan, depending on how much you got it narrowed down to. I got it down to 30 degrees, so one scan should be more than enough. And then they would pop up somewhere at the end of this, and that's how they would find you that way. And when you use that, they would actually pop up here as a ship. Like it would say ship, or it'll say what it is, and I could just click and warp straight to you, just like I could the Gears to Sten. You can't. You'd have to be steady on their scanning, because then they would be able to see the combat probes, and then they can warp away. If they weren't using the D-scan and just sitting in a safe spot, they wouldn't see you coming. You'd warp directly on top of them. But I don't know why I pulled those back.
Okay, so a combat probe puts them on your probe scanner list.
Yeah. See these filters here. Like I can put ships on here. I can, if I wanted to, I could turn all these off. Just do ships for combat probes. That way, I don't see nothing but ships when I do my probe. So when I set my probes up here, so I'd be quick about it. and bam.
Nice.
If I had combat probes and there was a ship here, it would pop up here. See, I got you narrowed down to just this circle right here. You're nowhere else in the system. So I set my probes in the middle of that, and you have 8 probes. They all overlap. That's how they're able to find stuff. It's a
Mm.
process of elimination kind of deal is how they work.
Yeah.
But being this tight of a cluster and given the skills that you have in it as well would also determine how fast you would find them. Uh, this is how they would find you with combat probes. What they might do is when they come into the system, let me pull these back real quick. Let me turn my D-scan off just so you can see. When you come into the system, wait a minute, how does that work? Let me pull it back real quick. And still pop up in the same spot. They might send out their combat probes right at the start. They'll center them on the sun and expand it over the entire system. They'll scan it, and from here, a whole list of every ship and system will pop up right here. And you'll see those little X's pop up everywhere, wherever they are, or a roundabout area. And from there, they can decide where to start looking. This will let them know how many ships are in system. Just because there's 26 people in local doesn't mean they're undocked. So with that right there, they can immediately see 25 people in local. There's only 2 people undocked, and that's not unheard of either. All right, but this filter right here is very important for anything that you do. So you know what you're looking for. See, I'm not looking for drones or structures or deployables. This is an exploration ship, so I would only be looking for the anomalies and signatures. But an easy way to go about using your probes in any aspect, whether it be combat probes or actual probes, is you find your signature. You can click on it over here. Hold on. And it'll immediately center up on it if you're not holding control. You can double click and it'll do the quarter turn for you. That way you don't have to try to do it manually. Holding Alt expands your probe's range, like so. I think you can just mouse wheel over this right here too, and that'll do it as well. B will get them to search for you. Sometimes these will have a little red sphere around them. That'll give you an idea about the range you need to be when you search for it the first time. It don't need to be out 32. Oops, I'm holding control. You can change the density if you hold control. See, they're not expanding, they're just moving further and closer apart. You want them to be something like that, where it got a nice overlap between all of them. So you click on it, it'll center it up for you. That way when you double click, you have it right dead center for it. See, it's a process of elimination that moved over. We got a little better lock on it. Center it back up over it. Alt mouse wheel to reduce your size of your scan. Hit B. It'll scan for you. See, you got a lot better that time. I'll reduce it 2 sizes. Go from, I think it was 8 AU to 1 AU. Let's try our luck. Right. See that?
Nice.
Sped that up much faster.
And you said you're double clicking to rotate the axis?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, just like that, found it. It's a local Gearistus. Uh, I believe local is safe. Let's check it out. This is a data site. I have my data analyzer on here. I do have a wormhole system right here. I have two of them. We'll check those out in a minute. I don't, however, have a cargo scanner on here, which would be nice, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I was wondering about that. What's the fourth one?
This one,
Yeah.
uh, it's a range finding array. It strengthens my probes.
Okay.
Increases scan strength when scanning with probes.
Hmm.
Have you ever done any kind of data relic sites, Durin?
I'm sorry. What?
Have you ever done any kind of data
Oh
or
yeah,
relic
yeah,
sites?
yeah. I have. That's why I asked. Because normally I have the same thing, but the fourth one's a cargo scanner, or not a cargo, but yeah, I think cargo.
Well, I do a lot of exploration with scanning, so
Okay.
if you have a cargo, let's see.
Yeah, I've been at Stereo with the same stuff. Just I had a cargo scanner on that one.
Yeah, cargo scanner help you see what's inside. That way you can
Yeah.
reduce the risk and time that you're in one place. Makes things a
Yeah.
little bit easier. I'm going to bookmark this to the let's see, sites. This is going to be in the hold on. That is an Astral bookmark, so if you'd like to swing in there and get that in a little bit, help yourself. Just right click in space, go to locations, sites, data site.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. All right,
I
let's
may go
see.
steal that.
Huh?
I said I may go steal that.
Help yourself.
All right.
All right, we're going to find this wormhole. I'll show you what it's like to be in a wormhole. The wormholes, they can be very dangerous because you can get lost in them. They can close in on you. It might be where somebody's living and they don't take kindly to people moving in on them. So let's see what we can find here. See, I didn't get any kind of luck with that first go around, so I had to make it a little bit bigger. And sometimes they will be like that. They'll be far off from the original spot. That's why you got to reduce it usually one at a time. If you have good, strong skills, you can get big numbers on it whenever you scan for it. It makes it a lot quicker. See, alternating between Alt and mouse wheel to change your size and B to scan does make things a lot faster. So warp to it now. Go take a look at it. Now, for the most part, all wormholes that you're going to find in high sec, low sec, and null are going to be the K162s, which are exit wormholes. There are exceptions, such as like wandering wormholes, Thera wormhole. This is a C5, I believe. Yeah. So take a look at it. Oh no, it leads to high security space. It leads to Mimitar space. It's red. All right. That's kind of lame. I was hoping to go into a wormhole and see what this other one is. If it says a high security space, the color of the wormhole will tell you the what race region you're gonna fly into. It's red, so it's Mimitar. If it was yellow, it'd be Amar. Blue Kaidari, green Galente. You get it. But see, it's a K162. It's an exit wormhole. There's gonna be that because technically, if you're in the high sec area, low sec, no sec, you are the exit. That's why it's gonna be K162. Once you go inside it, though, you may find other wormholes linking to different wormholes, and unless they have an exit, they will be labeled to something different.
So say you're a wormhole within a wormhole, it'll say K if you go through that. Eventually, you'll get to high sec or something. Is that what you're saying?
Inside that system, on one side or the other of that wormhole, there will be an exit wormhole that leads to high, low, or null sec. It will lead you out of the wormhole. Just where at is no telling. To roll a dice.
Hmm.
But see, I'm in a high sec. This one leads to another high sec. So when I jump on the other side, it's still going to say K162 because it's tied to
Okay.
a high sec. We're going to warp to this other one. This one is a C2. They all look differently.
What do you see in there when you say C2?
It's not going to say it. It's something you gotta look at. Um, you can find something, Google it, and you can see the pictures of each one.
Hmm.
They all look differently. That's how you can tell the class. It
Oh,
doesn't.
okay.
You're not going to see anywhere that says this is this class of wormhole. But however, it is EOL, end of its natural life. That means it is going to collapse very soon. See, this one actually is a R943. Shit, I don't know what that is. But EOL wormholes, end of life. Uh, Try not to mess with them if possible, unless you are looking for a way out or something like that. Because the second you jump through, it could collapse on you. It may collapse while I'm sitting right here. You never know. But there is one more signature, so we'll see what that is real quick. Hopefully, this will be another wormhole. Trying to think, what else could I be trying to cover here? Anything more with the D scan? That's a combat site. All right, we'll jump over one system. Just some little tips and tricks. If you hold control, like I said, it'll change your AU by 1. If you hold shift, it'll change the 10th.
That's cool.
That's not really necessary, but it's there if you want to use it.
Yeah.
Somebody's capsule. You don't have to worry about recalling your probes either. Whether you jump into a wormhole, change systems, they all automatically come back to you.
Oh, do they do that now? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, they used to not. They do now.
yeah. I used to lose them.
Oh, everybody did.
Hmm.
I'd have been a prime opportunity to show you how to do this. I jumped in the system. There's nothing on gate. I have 8 in local. there's an Orthos on scan. That would be a damn fine target. So it's
What is that?
an Orthos. It is um, a non-Empire cruiser, probably about a half a mil. I'm sorry, a half a bill. They usually run about 500,000. All right, he's at 10 kilometers or 10 AU. Sorry, where am I at? I'm right here. What do I have in range? I got this salvage site. There's a station in range. He might be there. There's a Gila
Oh,
landed on me. See, I'm still cloaked. And I'm
oh.
uncloaking now. See, all in that amount of time that I had, I was able to do what I had around me, and he's gone now. So he might have been at the station.
So it shows you if they're in station or not.
No, no.
Oh, but he may have been docking or something.
I'm looking at my D scan. I found him at 10, lost him at 5, so brought it back out. There's a Ferox now. He's landed on me though. Uh, Within that 10, I have a station here next to me, which being that close, I would have seen him on my overview. But there's another station in an asteroid belt over here, which is close to my maximum range. So that tells me that he is probably at that station. If I'd warped to it, I may have seen him on there. All right, let's see about finding a wormhole here. Don't know why my probes aren't launching. There we go. A little bit of lag. Scan this site down real quick. Usually this many in here. Hopefully it'll be a wormhole. First one's a wormhole. I love it. You can hit V to do your directional scanner too. It'll automatically scan for you. B as in boy for the probe, V as in Victor for the D scanner. You got some Trig and Eden com sites here. All right, going to the wormhole.
Hey, you know those are trig space.
Is just the accelerator flashpoint is a Trig site, and the stellar observation post is a Eden com site. That's just
Oh,
knowledge having.
okay. You just know that. Okay.
All right, leaves the unknown part of space. It's not EOL. Looks like a C2. Nobody's around it. Let's jump in. All right, there is somebody in here. They got their core scanners out. I don't see them, so they're probably cloaked. Always, 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 whenever you jump in to a new system or into a wormhole, bookmark your exit. That is how you find your way back out. Otherwise, if you warp away, you're going to have to scan everything in here to find your way back out. But a little trick, since I'm sitting right here right now, I'll pop my cloak, launch my probes, and turn my cloak back on. That way nobody finds me. I am right here. This X that's right here by me is going to be my wormhole. So I already know that this one, VOW, is my exit wormhole. It's going to be that one. That's one site that I don't have to scan for if I don't want to. All right, what we can do, we'll turn on structures. I may have done that a little too late. Didn't realize I didn't have my D scan out to 14 either. I see a sister. There's two people in here scanning. Nothing's popping up for structures. I don't think anybody actually lives here. But there is a core deposit, or an ore deposit, sorry. Ice and rare ores. That'd be cool. If you want to come in here with a venture, something small and fast, you can come in and do a little ninja mining. Always possible. Once you got the wormhole bookmark too, bookmark the outside of it. That way all you have to do is right click and space at locations, and you can warp straight to it, straight out when you need to get out. But you see on the one side it said it had the R whatever number that was. See, it's an exit wormhole. It goes out back out to high space. On this side, it's a K162.
So you said the K's mean it's an exit to high space?
It's an exit out of the wormhole. It means it could lead to high sec, low sec, or null sec.
Oh, okay.
It's just exit is what it means.
Okay.
All right. One of the other probes they done left. So I don't know if they
So
done went into another wormhole. Was that?
so when you a question, when you went in, um like the one before you said it was end of life.
Mm-hmm.
What was this one that you went into?
I was in good standing. I'll bring it back up.
What does that mean? So
See, it
instead of
just
24.
says uh, it's going to say the same thing as far as its life span. Like on this side, it's going to say it leads to high security space. On the other side, it's going to say it leads to unknown space, whatever. Um, it's always going to say beginning to decay. It won't last another day. It hasn't had its stability significantly disrupted by ships passing through it, and then it's
Okay.
going to have a class of ship that can pass through the wormhole. All of that really isn't going to tell you anything because they're all going to say something about the same. Um, this line right here is going to tell you a general idea of the safety of the wormhole. If it says an unknown space, it's going to be a C1 to C3. Wait, is that right? I think it's C1 to C3. Um, what is it? One of them in a dangerous section of space is 4 and 5, I think. What's 6 1? I don't remember. I know what they look like. It might be one.
Hmm.
It might be 1 through 4 that says unknown space, and then 5 and 6 that says dangerous space. But this is a C2. Those classifications give you an idea of how dangerous a system might be too. Um, when you're looking for these places, if you're looking for data sites, relic sites, combat sites, inside wormholes are sleepers. Sleepers aren't like the other rats that you'll find in the other sections of space. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, they tank omni damage, meaning it doesn't matter what element you're using, they tank they're going to take the same no matter what. So whatever you have, throw it at them.
Okay.
They are quite a bit more dangerous. And don't let the fact that a difference between a combat site and a something like a data or relic site uh, deter you about the safety of it, because typically the sleepers that are in data and relic sites are stronger than the ones in combat sites. The combat sites, I believe they usually range about 400 to 600 DPS. Combat and data sites, the boss battleship that shows up at the end can be about 1,000 DPS. So they pump out huge numbers, and you need a battle class ship to be able to fight it. A lot of people they'll come in with marauders, like one or two marauders, and fight. Um, I believe Carlos does that quite a bit too. He'll come in dual ship and like C6s, and they are much more dangerous. And for an hour, and make almost like 2 billion isk, but they are quite a bit more dangerous. Yeah, this is pretty much just how wormhole is. As long as you know to bookmark the wormhole you came through, and if I wanted to track down this wormhole and jump through it, I would mark it on both sides, bookmark it. That this is this wormhole. I would put the ID number, the DBB, beside it. I put maybe its class, um, or even if it led to a high sec, low sec, null sec, I would mark that high sec wormhole, whatever. If I wanted to come back later and come jump around, um, you got to be mindful because you never know who might be living in these wormholes. And local chat, you're not going to see nobody unless you type something. Then your name will pop up. Everybody can see that, but you won't see them. Let
But
me
you
see.
but you said you can see that by on the D scanner doing structures or
On Dscan, yeah. Let's see.
I
Oops.
guess what I'm asking is you can see if there's people living there based on if there's structures or not
Yeah, you'll see.
on the
You'll
D
see.
scanner.
Might see an Athenor for moon mining or Retaru,
Yeah.
like all the normal player-owned stations. They're put in these wormholes and they live in wormholes. We actually had one for a little while.
So wormholes will collapse, but they're still there. They're still like the next day you can go in it or
Um, Wormholes, not all of them. People who live in the wormholes typically have what's called a static wormhole, and there is always a wormhole that connects to a high sec or a low sec, depending on the wormhole itself, and what people prefer. What it means, what they mean by static, is whenever one collapses, another one will appear. It won't
mm.
pop up immediately on your probe scanner until you actually start looking for it. Like it'll like the cosmic signature. Turn this off for a minute. Like say I only had two things on here. The wormhole that's about to collapse and this ore site, right? Well, my wormhole collapses, and the only thing I have on here is an ore site. What's your first thought? Like, oh shit, I'm trapped in here now. It the other wormhole opened up, but it has not. It will not appear on your probe scanner until you start looking for it. So you bring out your probes. Uh, oops, keeping that wrong button. Do something like this, like make it a little bit bigger. Usually this will help trigger it. And once it scans, you'll see the cosmic signature pop up right here. And then you can scan it down. That'll be your new static wormhole. Typically, it will not show up though until you actually start looking for it, or somebody starts looking for it. A way, a trick that people do when they live in wormholes, they do what's called rolling the wormhole. They'll get Megathrons and Hicks, and they'll load them up for maximum mass. The rolling Megathrons, they'll have a micro warp drive on them, and I think bulkheads. By turning on your micro warp drive, you amplify your mass, and you typically only use about two or three of them. And like I was showing you before with this, like larger ships can pass through, that means battleships. Anything bigger than a battleship cannot pass through that wormhole. It has not had its stability significantly disrupted yet. This is the information you would use when you're trying to roll a wormhole, because once you put so much mass through there, the wormhole becomes critical. What that means is that so much mass, every time a mass goes through it, it shrinks that wormhole, makes it smaller. So by taking the biggest ships possible and running them through that, you're going to deplete that mass very quickly. Usually only takes about 5 or 6 jumps back and forth between the 2 or 3 megathrons, and then you'll have a hick, a heavy interdictor. Uh, it's got a mod on it that it'll jump through it, and then whenever you turn around to come back, they'll kick it on, and it'll blow that mass up so big that next time they pass through it, it'll collapse that wormhole. And that's if they have a wormhole, a specific high sec that they're trying to look for, maybe so many jumps from a market hub. They'll do that. If they have a wormhole opened up next to a very unfriendly neighbor, they'll roll the wormhole, close that up real quick. We don't want them over here. There's several reasons to do it. It usually doesn't take very long. You just you get a polarity jumping back and forth between wormholes. Like if I this wormhole here, if I jump through it again, then turn around, jump back through, I'd have a cooldown before I could jump through it again. It's called a polarity. It's usually about 2 to 3 minutes. So that's one thing also to keep in mind if you're trying to keep distance or trying to run from somebody chasing you, and you think you're going to cross them up in the wormhole, you can only jump through it once, I think twice, before you get that polarity, and then you got a cooldown. So you're going to be kind of stuck, especially if you don't have a cloak. But yeah, wormhole life is a whole nother way of playing. It's a lot different than even nullsec.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds interesting though.
Oh, it is. A lot of the best materials that you can find in game are in wormholes.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering. You mentioned adventure. Is that what people do? Just dump a venture in, so if they lose it, it's not that bad, or?
Well, yeah, that it's a frigate, so it's a very fast ship. Um,
Mm.
you can find if you can find gas sites and wormholes. Uh, Ventures can fit gas scoops, so you can put
Oh,
two
okay.
two gas
All
scoops
right.
on there, fly into the wormhole, fill up your cargo, fly out, dump it. You know, like we're this system's one system away from HQ. But say I was 10 jumps from HQ. I'm not going to fly all the way back 10 jumps every time to do it. So if there's a station in here, I'll jump out the wormhole, dock, dump it, go back in, and keep doing it until, somebody
Yeah.
tries to come and get me. And then being that I'm in adventure, I can quick in, quick out, ain't got nothing to worry
Yeah.
about.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Worst case, you lose a venture, and you've got your exit. You got your exit bookmarked, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to do a
And
wormhole now.
they're going to be, and the wormholes are going to be using combat probes to find you.
Yeah.
Um, they can still do the D-scan thing, but without a local, they can't tell if there's even anybody in the system. They can do some quick D scans and see what's around. They can see if there's structures, tell if somebody's living there. Um, but more than likely, when they jump through, they're gonna throw out their combat probes, scan the entire system real quick, just to see if anybody's in there. And if they find a target, they'll pull the combat probes and they'll try to track you down with D scan.
Hmm. Okay.
If there's a lot of anomalies in there, like if they see the adventure or a small fleet of retrievers or something like that, well, they know they're in there after something good. So they're going to be looking for the ore sites or the gas sites or whatever the case is. So they may have to scan something down for that. But outside of that, I mean, it depends on how good they are at scanning people down, how good of a hunter they are. It'll depend on how fast and how accurate they can get to their target. If they don't have a lot of practice on it, they're kind of fumbling over themselves. So that's going to give the fleet a lot of time to get out. And believe me, they're gonna be watching for those probes. They're as a finger on that mouse or on that V button steadily scanning that D scan. But yeah, um,
I get,
outside of that, I mean, as far as being able to watch out for yourself. D-scan's your best friend. If you're sitting at an asteroid belt, go here. It's really nice if you're just doing belt mining and you can find you a belt where you have one or two gates in range when you're hitting your D-scan. If you see local go up or spike and you have those gates in range, you can keep hitting your D-scan and you'll see you might be able to catch them before they're able to cloak up again or whenever they do uncloak. You can see what's in system, what's coming at you, especially for something like an Orca, because if you have a Desi fleet coming through, uh, you might want to be on your way out of there. That's what happened to Diggy. Diggy lost his Orca because of a Desi fleet came through in high second, got him.
Oh, what fleet? A Desi? What's that?
Yeah, destroyers.
Oh.
At best, the ships themselves, the destroyers cost maybe 10 mil, and his Orca was probably about 2 bill. So 30 destroyers to take out a Desi and get Concorded, you are way positive. That is a good day of hunting. But yeah, sitting like here, I'm sitting on this asteroid belt. I have I have one gate in range. That one there is just barely out of range, but nothing I can do about that. Even if I was to go here, see I got an asteroid belt there, I would have all these gates in range. When I descan, I'd just be steadily watching. Even in low sec, if I wanted to take a venture into low sec and get maybe some jaspid or something like that, whatever, um, just the same method would be used. Uh, I wouldn't recommend going with anything bigger than a venture just because of how much slower they are, like Mackinons, Retrievers, Hulks, whatever. They are quite a bit slower. Ventures fast in, fast out. You can find a station, dump it at, come back later and pick it up. It's just not that big of a deal. At least you have the ore at that point. Yeah, this is what you pretty much do. Just sit here, click and scan, or hitting V every now and again. Depends on where you are. You know, watching local, making sure it's not spiking on you. This is pretty much how you watch out for yourself.
Okay.
It's really not that much. Like it's not that difficult to really get a feel for. It's just knowing what you can do to prevent somebody getting a drop on you. If you happen to be in a fleet in nullsec and you see a Sino go up, get out because that is Black Ops. They are hot. They are doing what's called a hot drop, and a lot of ships are about to come through at you. There's for some reason they've targeted you, and there's some like redeemers, stealth bombers. Is a whole fleet can come through at you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this.
All right.
You got any questions?
Now we're in now. I may ask you later once I start trying this out, but
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
I said just play with the D scan. You know, shift, control, alt. You know, get a feel for how you can move things around a little quicker, a little easier for yourself. That right off jump is going to make things a lot more efficient for you. The probes, there really is nothing to the probes. It's much more intimidating than it actually is. Um, really, all you need is Alt, wheel mouse, and B, as in boy.
Okay. Well, thanks. That's been a big help. Yeah, I haven't even delved into wormhole space and the descanning yet. So
Get you a little cloaky ship and go play around. I mean, it
yeah,
really isn't. You go get you a heron and you go fly
I have
around.
I have an Astero which I use for my exploration, but I just never used it that way. I guess.
If you just want to play around without no real worry about loss, get you a heron.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Um, it's a exploration ship, super cheap. Um, it's a frigate. Find you a wormhole, go play around, put you some a data and relic analyzers on there. find you some sites. You can make a lot of money doing data and relic sites and wormholes. A lot of money if you get lucky.
Okay.
Um, what if you can find 2 or 3 data sites? It's usually you can range anywhere from maybe 20 mil to 500 mil. In that range, it just depends on your luck with the site itself.
Yeah.
Is it survey? No, archaeology and hacking skills are gonna determine how well you actually hack through those sites. A little mini game you play.
Okay.
Um,
So archaeology and hacking, I need to level up.
uh,
All right.
4 minimal for wormhole, but ideally you'd want it level 5. That way you can use T2 analyzers. That makes them. It's a lot stronger. Wormholes are the little hacking games are quite difficult.
It looks like I'm 4.5. I'm not sure how that works.
You started training into it and put something else there.
Oh, okay. So I'm 5 archaeology and 4.5 at hacking. So yeah, I'm gonna go try that out.
Absolutely. So if you a heron's a good choice for low, like not worried about losing anything important. Um, check your Eve University, the data and relic sites to find out which ones are safe, which ones not. Um, the only thing unsafe and safe means is that the site won't blow up in your face. That's the only thing.
What do you mean?
Rats, the difference between safe and unsafe.
When you said blow up in your face, yeah.
Yeah, unsafe sites, when you're in the middle of a hack, the site can blow up and it'll instantly pod you. Like your ship's
Mm,
gone, pod you, and you're back at station going, "What the hell just happened?" That's what unsafe means. Rats can jump in on you. They can be on the site. Like I said, don't warp to 0, especially just don't warp to 0 on any of the sites. Period. Even if you have a cloak, because if you warp in on top of something close enough, it'll pop your cloak anyway.
so how do you know if it's safe or unsafe?
I will post it. 1 second.
Sorry, you may have said it, but it's kind of breaking up for me.
No, I'll get the website for you real quick. There you go. Posted in court.
Oh, okay. So it's part of the university. Uh,
Yeah, it's part of Eve University. If you scroll down, oops, hold on, control again. Scroll down about halfway, and you'll see this safe to warp to. There's the keywords like relic sites, crumbling, decay, ruin. These will be on the front of whatever the site's called. That'll let you know it's safe. It tells you uh,
oh,
where
okay.
you can find them: high, low, null, which classification of wormhole. Data sites. Yeah, those are the keywords you want to look for when you're looking at them. So you also have like like sleeper data sites. None of them are safe, but those are like high sec. If you're doing high sec stuff, like the limited sleeper, standard sleeper spear, they will all blow up in your face. So you gotta be careful about that. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's pretty easy to get out there. It's just doing it. Like
So it'll be called crumbling, decayed, or ruined.
yeah,
Like when you probe scan.
yeah, whenever you find them, that'll be the prefix for the word or for the
Okay.
name of the site.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm gonna have to try this out in a little bit.
Absolutely. So it's just a new way of playing, and by doing that, you're learning how to use your D scan and your probes as well. And you actually use it for just about every aspect of the game. So the more you use it, the better. The more you get familiar with it, the better off you're going to be. And just by learning those 2 things alone, it opens up so many avenues in game for you. So many more things you can do. If some people in game they like to do courier stuff, haulers. There's a lot of systems that you have to be very careful of, even in high sec, where you'll get popped if you jump through, and they deem you worthy of killing. You can use an alt, run scouts through it. You can scout through for yourself and jump back through and get your ship, however you want to do it. Just learning how to do that and keep situational awareness is key in this game.